Hello, everyone. Welcome to the post game show. And I want to apologize for not having an episode last week, but I ended up missing most of the New England game, so I really didn't feel like it was right for me to make a video last week on this. However, this week I am, so you're going to get a little bit of, I guess, a combination of both games and some of my opinions on what I saw. And I'm going to go ahead and just say that I'm going to get the negatives right out of the way because the Eagles fell to the Seahawks 17-9. This was a pretty frustrating game to watch, if I'm going to be honest. Last week was equally frustrating too, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk about it. Now, first, like I said, we're going to get to the negatives. Now, the first negative with this week was the offense was beyond abysmal these last 2 weeks, especially in the Seattle game, where you had plenty of great opportunities that you could have easily scored and you whiff on them on every single damn time. Now, there's a lot of things to blame here. There is the fact that the entire O line is pretty much, minus Jason Kelsey, the entire starting O line is gone. Brandon Brooks did go out with an injury, which turned out to be anxiety, and anxiety is no freaking joke. Let's be real here. So I really do hope that Brandon Brooks is okay. And we had Lane Johnson, who hadn't come back from concussion protocol, as well as missing two more receivers in Alshon Jeffrey and Nelson Aguilar. So already our start, and Jordan Howard's out too. So already all three of our starting wide receivers, and pretty much our entire entire starting O line minus Jason Kelsey are out of the game. So you can already tell that this is probably not going to go well for the Eagles, especially considering how the Seattle Seahawks are definitely a very strong and solid defense. Now, however, the one thing I don't get though is why they didn't put um, Greg Jr. wasn't in this game like as a starter because he is clearly way better than Mal Collins. Mal Collins is not very good, if I'm going to be honest. Matt Collins can't catch, he can't run routes, he can't create separation, and say what you want about Nelson Aguilar, he has had some really bad drops this season. He's regressed almost completely to his rookie form. But the thing is, at least Nelson Aguilar can catch sometimes. It's just that Nelson Aguilar isn't very clutch. Now, and that's not a good thing, but that's still a hell of a lot better than not being able to catch it all, not being able to create separation on your routes, and not being able to run those routes effectively. Now, the rookie J.J. Whiteside did show a few glimpses of premise here, and it wasn't like an all lost game because, like I said, we're gonna get to some positives here in a second. But the offense, just no matter what position they were in, they just could not freaking capitalize. And of course, their only scored touchdown was in garbage time, or borderline garbage time. So yeah. And then you also have the fact that Wentz had a very terrible game this week. I mean, there's no way around it. Even with, the practice squad wide receivers, even with the lowest depth that you can get with your offensive line in terms of the depth chart, he still made some very terrible plays. There was that first interception, which was just a very bad throw, and there was also several times throughout the game where he's just like overthrowing his wide receivers completely, not really giving them a chance. So it's not like Wentz is like completely exempt from any criticism here. He had a poor game, plain and simple. Now, this is a very uh, damning loss for the Eagles too, and the New England one is too, because right now, even though they're only 2 games behind the Cowboys, they pretty much have to win out at this point if they want to make the playoffs. Because they're more than likely not going to be getting the wild card spot. That just seems kind of out of reach unless one of those 4 teams, Vikings, Packers, 49ers, or Seahawks, just decides to have a massive collapse on the likes of the 2008 Broncos, which I do not see happening. However, you never know. And the other thing is that the Cowboys are 2 games ahead, so you also have to hope for a little bit of collapse from them as well, or a little bit of a losing streak for the Eagles to make the playoffs. And also, the Eagles will have to win their Dallas matchup, in which the Eagles have not done very good against Dallas in recent years. Now, thankfully, the Eagles do have a easier opponent this week in comparison to facing the Patriots and the Seahawks. So that's a plus. Is that they're facing a team right now that's tanking on purpose. So not saying I'm not going to go around saying it's like a guaranteed win, because that would be pretty arrogant to say. But it's definitely a game that it's definitely not a same level opponent as the Seahawks or the Patriots. Now I'm going to go ahead and get to some positives about this game, and that is the defense was phenomenal. Like this defense right now is playing like a championship caliber defense. That's the level they are at right now. The fact that they pretty much shut down Tom Brady and they shut down Russell Wilson in back-to-back weeks. The only touchdown that the Seahawks had here was a trick play. So, yeah. But yeah, they forced Russell Wilson to make some pretty big mistakes. They got some great turnovers, and they put the offense in great position. In which, if this offense was not like about as lively as a corpse, then there probably would be more points from the Eagles on this game. But it is what it is, and yeah, it was a very. But yeah, it's so frustrating though when the defense just makes such a valiant and just really amazing top tier effort, and then the offense just makes the defense's like stops in vain. But it was a very strong effort from this defensive unit. There was a lot of great pressure. They pretty much made sure that Russell Wilson didn't get to do his Houdini magic most of the game. They locked down most of the wide receivers, in which, yeah. So yeah, offensively, like if I had to grade the offense, it would be an F. The defense would get a B plus because they were very effective, and it's really frustrating to see the effort they gave go to waste. Now, for the other thing I want to say is this game more exposed what I've been feeling for the last few weeks, and that is Mike Gall is a freaking terrible offensive coordinator. I don't even know why we hired him. I mean, did the front office see how terrible that this St. Louis Rams offense was when he was there? It is just a very terrible defense, and can't seem to get. And it seems like no one can fit into his scheme. Um, and also, with the problem with the Eagles wide receiver depth is that it makes it more irritating that they pass on a few guys, such as Josh Gordon, when it's like, I mean, that's like all the Eagles have been doing this season is just constantly passing on like great opportune players to get, and it has been biting the Eagles in the ass all season. You know, they passed on Josh Gordon, they've passed on a few other guys, and I can understand why they didn't get the corners at the deadline like everyone wanted, you know, Ramsey and such. At the corner position, they were getting those guys back from injury throughout the season, so I can understand why. However, with the wide receiver position, it just, you know, Alshon Jeffrey has had kind of a down year. Deshaun Jackson pretty much went out for the season after game one, and Nelson Aguilar has regressed to the point where I don't think he's returning. So definitely, I think regardless of what happens this season, the wide receiver unit is going to get a massive overhaul this offseason. And I have a feeling, and also, even if this team makes the playoffs, it's definitely not something to be optimistic about right now because of the way that this offense has been playing, especially recently. This team is more than likely going to get freaking bounced out of the first round. And very quickly, too. Now, there are some good things going up. Like I said, they're going to be playing the lowly Dolphins, which is a team that's deliberately trying to lose on purpose. And you're going to go ahead and you're also going to get Lane Johnson back from concussion protocol. So there's going to be a little bit of help on the offensive line here. Now I'm not sure what the progress is on all the other injured players, but it's also one can only hope that we get them back soon. Now, with that being said, I want to thank you for taking your time out of your day to watch this video, and I hope you all have a great day.